Wonderful. Welcome everybody to today's webinar, How to Access the Power of Existing Leads When Cached, Hatch and Improve It 360. Really pleased to share with you guys today some strategies that are going to help you get in front of homeowners today and build your sales pipeline, prepare you well in the future with the new age and the new modern homeowner. So welcome, Chris from Hatch, and get away.
Thanks, Josh. So guys, just to introduce who we are really quick, my name's Chris Bache, CEO of Hatch. I have about 15 years experience with small and medium-sized businesses, particularly with this. And we started Hatch, talk a little bit in a minute about what we are, but we started Hatch to help home. There's a lot of ways to sort of do that. We'll give you some tactical stuff today, but I'm excited about this partnership, and I'm really excited about this webinar and the tactical stuff that you can use inside of your business when we're finished.
Absolutely. Hey, Chris, this is Caroline Crawford. I'm the VP of Sales at Improve It 360. Again, I have also been in technology for a lot of years. This partnership, this is a lot of value for both of our customers and both of our organizations, and a lot of really great information today. So with that being said, let's kind of get this party started, all right? Today, it looks like we've got a bunch of folks from remodeling, construction, windows and doors, and roofing and siding, which all of our favorite vertical markets for our customers for both of our organizations. So, Chris, let's.
Absolutely. I'm excited that those are the folks attending because I think they're going to get the most value. Caroline, today's webinar and why I think you guys want to stick around for the entire. I have a mutual customer that uses i360 and Hatch in Grand Rapids, Michigan, who just this month, as yesterday, $1,000 in window and door sales, and they did that during obviously one of the most unprecedented times, in our life, which is during the pandemic. And so there's ways to do that with this combination. This is basically how they did it, and this is just a little preview, and we'll get into the specifics in a moment. The first thing that this company does really, really well is categorizing existing leads and Improve It 360, their CRM. They do a great job of not just the CRM status, but CRM details. They know jobs that have been quoted where a customer may have bought part of a job, but not the entire job. Happened, canceled appointments. They understand and get the data that's appropriate to do rehash. So they do a really good job of categorizing their existing leads into segments. The second thing that they did really well was once they set rules to automate messaging to set appointments, and they made it relevant to today's time. And it worked. I think 75% of their revenue this month is from Improve It 360 and Hatch. No outside focusing on their current customers and opportunities in their database. And then the third thing is they did introduce virtual appointments. I know a lot of people are talking about that. We're going to get a little bit on how exactly they did virtual appointments. Not only how did they offer them, but then how did they do that? How did they get that face-to-face so that the close rates would be close, like if you were in home? So we're going to go through these in a little bit, but this is about Hatch a little bit. What we are, we're a business messaging platform for home improvement companies. We help our customers engage with two-way conversations. I kind of put us in three buckets. We combine text, email, chat, and phone in one place. We can automatically do follow-ups and launch campaigns. But most importantly, we allow for collaboration between your entire team. How Grand Rapids executed this and got the sales manager involved and finance involved to close deals. So that's what we do.
Processes and maximize their profits, right? So we are the all-in-one business optimization platform that has built to help you as an organization grow. So we really help you automate manual and repetitive tasks. We allow you to manage your sales, your staff, projects, and customer relationships all in one place. And we allow you, most importantly, to get business where your business is in terms of sales and projects to allow you to make better business decisions. Or communication campaigns with Hatch so that you don't have to think about it. Folks don't have to calling or whatever, and the rest of it just takes place. And that's what's super important, because if you think about texting, there's some interesting just talk about real quick, because this is very, very important, especially with what Hatch does. Texts actually have a 99% open rate. 90 to 95% of text messages are read within 3. Guess what? They have a 200% better response rate than phone calls. So incorporating texting and all do is super important, right? Because we're allowing you to manage and automate your business, and then it is centralize all of those conversations across multiple communication paths, which is super important. And Chris, I stole your slide. Sorry. So at the end of this, guys, you're going to have 4 really important takeaways to bring to your business to help you through the rest of this pandemic that we're in, but also to prioritize as part of your business processes moving forward.
Love that. So let's talk about what's happening today. We aren't tone deaf. You know, Caroline and I were talking about, you know, working with customers. Full of bright spots right now. One, your essential business. Homeowners are still active, and we've got some data to prove that they're actually active. Virtual tools are moving the business forward, and we expect that to last into the that's going to want to do things virtually. It's just the way that we all act and behave now. And this is specifically from conversation platform. We actually track pipeline because we connect with i360, and May pipeline is up 200%. So appointments are getting on the books, and it looks like business is going to get closer to normal in May. So I think that's exciting.
That's super exciting, because I don't know about you guys, but I'm tired of looking at these 4 walls. Right? Today and tomorrow, you know, with this pandemic and all of the things that have happened in the world right now, there are things that are going to be here. Like, we really have to start thinking about moving forward. There's going to be a lot of focus on still virtual appointment options, right? Because of a couple of reasons. One is folks are sick moving forward, so we've got to, you know, be cognizant of that and offer, you know, the ability of doing these virtual. Our younger generations, right, really enjoy technology, and they like to do things through technology. So the fact that, you know, these younger generations probably were going to point us in this direction, and it happened earlier than what we all probably would have thought. And if you think about virtual appointments, you know, in the home are a little apprehensive, let's say the word is, I think, around this, because they truly believe that you've got to be in success. And I believe that, but I also believe that you can still be very successful through these times. Folks are seeing slightly different close rates, but a lot of that has to do just, I mean, technology. We would have thought 10 years ago about buying cars online. You know, the car dealerships would have told us we were all crazy. Now, the other thing that's here to stay is that you have to sell your business, and not necessarily just the products that you sell. Interface and your website engagement with potential customers, allow them to see the personal side of you as a business. all the good that you do within your communities, your actual folks that work within your organization, kind of, because we've been separated, right? That connection with other people. And then you have to, and this is kind of the reason why, different ways to communicate. We talked about text messaging. That is honestly the quickest way to get a hold of somebody nowadays. Like, I answer the phone. Like, it's just the way that happens. So you have to incorporate many different ways to communicate, because you do have different types of customers within customers, I guess I should say. So making sure that you're doing all of these things today, but then you're going to end up doing the same types of things.
Love it. And I think this data, this is a Google search trend report for the keyword roofers. If you can see from January to actually trending up over here. Exactly.
Okay.
Thanks. Yeah. So all my roofers who have joined, people are looking to get their job done. So consumer, if you look at the next one here, I think we also looked for window installs. Window installs, the searches, consumer searches are sort of pre-COVID conditions. So what does this mean? This means consumers are online, and the gut feeling we have that people are home, looking at their windows, looking at their roofs, looking at getting home improvement projects done is actually real. More data from Hatch I just want to go over real quick. One is our engagement rate is up 9%. To 10 people and 5 people respond, that's a 50% engagement rate. Normally, out of our 50 to 90% engagement rate. Right now, overall on average, is up 9%, which means people are at home. People are willing to answer. People are willing to have a conversation. We are, however, seeing that the average selling price per job through our platform is, this sort of aligns with, probably some discounts are being applied. There's different strategies that are being used to bring business into. So I thought this was interesting data for you guys.
Yeah, that's awesome. So one of the things too that we have to think about as we move forward in general, and why, kind of we're doing this conversation today, is to really shift your thinking from a very linear to a much more automated and successful one. Get that? Get it? Think process as kind of like straight through the funnel, right? You got the top of the funnel, you got the bottom of the funnel, and boom, they come out the bottom. Either yes or no. World, and those folks that are being very successful, they're thinking of it more as like a wheel, where all of your leads go back into the top of your funnel. So you're always reaching back out to them, asking for referrals, asking for, kind of rehashing those folks that didn't sit or views, right? So it's not just kind of one and done, it's getting the most and squeezing the most out of everything, because everybody has a lot of stuff in there. It's just what you do with it, right? Not just necessarily everything exists in that database. So let's kind of talk about capitalizing on existing leads. These are the leads that canceled appointments, and then those who have bought from you in the past. These are the easiest that you have with them, potentially in some way, right? They set an appointment with you, maybe something came up. You quoted them, but they didn't buy, but maybe, find because of COVID right now. Or they're leads that bought from you in the past, which those are the easiest kind of sales, right? They already trust your organizing, engaging, and executing. So organize your system, organize your leads with the 4 R's and your repeat customers. And you have to engage, because get 30% more jobs with a rinse, and also executing, being able to run those virtual appointments to do more with less, right? We're all having to figure that out way, right? We've been doing remote sales for a very, very long time. I've been in technology and technology and running, sales calls across the internet since then. So this is nothing new. It just is new coming to this this environment, right? So let's and do Kara, if you want to allow that to happen, we're going to open up the poll. So you must, we'll close the poll here in a second. The poll question is, how is leads? And this is a circumstance in which you need to be really honest, because if you say, oh yeah, we're that, a lot of opportunity. If you're saying, hey, we're really good at this, but we probably could be better, that's awesome too. Head and leave that open for about 15 seconds, and then we can go through the. Okay, we could use some guidance in not engaging them at all. And hopefully the bottom answer is not one that everyone is. All right, Kara, you want to go ahead and close that poll? Everybody should have stuff. And now that allows me to share my screen again. All right, so let's go ahead and go through the next part of the questions. Bear with me 1 second. I think I just messed up my presentation. Chris, this is all you, my friend.
All right, if you can go back to the previous one before. Perfect. So I love what Caroline did there, right? She said there's really 3 opportunities right now, especially with a partnership with Hatch and I360, but you really need to do this. So this is going to get real tactical. I always tell people this part of the webinar is when you sort of take out your notepad and take notes, because we're and start implementing some of the stuff in your business. So let's start with canceled appointments, excuse me. That was really the first one fruit. We see canceled appointments are up almost 25%. So more people are canceling for obvious reasons. And aren't following up on canceled appointments. So there's a huge opportunity to put a process in place. What I love about our and we come with sort of best practices that work across the industry to tackle this problem alone. So the first thing you got to do with canceled appointments, you want to follow up with them. Our recommendation is less than 24 hours. That's rule number 1. Number 2, you need to have a multi-touch follow-up strategy, so that if your first contact to reschedule them doesn't get a response, you continue to touch base with them over 6 days. This right here on the screen, Grand Rapids used that worked. They ended up setting, they went from like a 15% cancel rate in March, excuse me, in February, then 7, using a multi-touch strategy. So let's walk through this really quick. Day 1, day of cancellation, immediately, if they don't respond, which happens almost half of the time, on day 2 is another touch with a text. If they don't respond, wait a day, and on day 4, do another text and an email. And during this time, you need to be saying the right thing. Something like, hey, it looks like maybe, schedules got crossed. We just need to reschedule. I want to get you back on the books. By the 4th touch on the Grand Rapids did was they offered a discount to meet right now because people are, frankly, waiting. And so, $500 off the install fee or something like that. I forget what exactly it is, but we have those playbooks and that verbiage. You combine that with automated 360, that's how you're going to make a difference in canceled appointments and to get that percentage lower. I want to show you guys what that looks like over text for your customers. So this is an example. We, of course, says, "Hey Josh, this is Chris with ABC Windows. I saw you cancel your appointment with us. Just let me know when's a better time for you." What time it's manual and it's not rinse and repeatable, and you don't have insight into how well it really works. Customer didn't respond, so on March 3rd we sent an appointment here. They actually use a technology called Calendly that looks at everybody's schedule, and the customer can then book it on their own, on their phone, and books a day and time because it's synced with their calendar. But even if you don't have this, guys, be looking out for tools just for your customers to say, "Yeah, I'll get back on the books." And we even have some COVID verbiage that says, "Hey, we understand people being safe. We can do in person or virtual." So just giving that kind of response and doing it in a rinse and repeatable way is going to make an impact to your business.
And it's awesome. It really is a great tool. We use it internally.
Oh, I love it. You don't have to go back and forth on time.
No.
It's just all there. 10% increase in sales made using Hatch's platform for appointment cancels. 20% higher homeowner engagement just for appointment cancels. People are home. And then appointment installations booked out through June from people. Person in Grand Rapids was like, "Oh, crap, what are we going to do?" We had our cancels are so far up, and now those are becoming. I want to talk.
Story. It's amazing. It really is amazing when you stop to think about the fact that 60% of leads that said no in the beginning on your rehash, like that's so important to think about, because you've already done a lot of the hard work, right? You got them, you've talked to them, for whatever reason they just said no at the time. But instead of make sure that you are the people that are following up, and you are the folks that are staying top of mind, because if you're not, are going to be the ones that are going to get that work, and that's not fair. You guys are the ones that actually did all the hard stuff. So all about how to execute rehash. Chris?
Yeah, I love this. And guys, this is what we've learned, specifically rehash. And we used to kind of put it in a bucket with other things, but we realized that it's a pretty complicated its own bucket. And what I mean by that is it has its own process. And if you do it right, your close rate will improve. Typically 5 to 7, 3% of your quotes, there's an opportunity to get to 35, 37%. And the way to do that is to incorporate these 4 rules. Number 1, be the first to get the lead after the quote is given. So in Grand Rapids, they immediately stopped it and said, "You know what, you guys focus on tomorrow. We're going to give you 48 hours to close the deal. If it doesn't work, we're handing it over to Hatch." That's number 1, and I'll show you the data on that in a second. Second is you've got to get engagement rate up. So what does that mean? We talked before about if you have 10 customers to call and 5 respond, that's a 50% engagement rate. About 80 to 90%, and that's going to be about how quickly you get in touch with these folks. So I'll show you how the data combines to create your own personal strategy inside your business. The third thing to remember, and this one is the one that's always forgotten, for what is that if somebody gets quoted on a Monday and they respond to you on a Thursday, you're probably going to get an objection. Understanding that objection conversation to the right person to close the deal, because not all reps are created equal. There are different places in their career. They may or may not be able to handle it. Understanding and routing it just is the key to actually closing it. And we'll give you an example of that. And then the last thing is Grand Rapids had unbelievable visibility. They knew how many rehashes per day. They know what the responses were. They know who was handling with the response. And every other day, close rate up. And that's how they were able to write, of that 150, 100 of it came from rehashing customers for the past 30 days. So it's pretty impressive. Go to the next one.
Absolutely. One of the things that we found is, just from so 10 to 12 touches of different types of engagement, right? So automation, emails, postcards, whatever it takes so that you stay that top of mind, right? And, you know, kind of changing it up some, you know, if you have the ability right after your appointment, you definitely want to have a very strategic, a survey also to those customers that don't buy, right? Because you kind of want to know the objection, also to be able to segment these folks into potentially different communication paths. Right? If you have somebody that's social side, well, if you have some sort of, you know, loan programs or whatever it may be, right? You want to target those folks with a very specific message. If it's, you know, a timing thing, you know, you incentive to move forward. So it's really important not only to understand the initial objections, but then also to be able to put them in the system so that you can parse them out in different ways and even dive deeper into the details, right? And be able to communicate on a much.
I love that. And in fact, that's what I love about our partnership is we push that communication history back to the record. And now, if you have a marketing person or you're using i360's marketing automation, you now have that data. So 6 months from now, you can drop them in an email campaign because you knew price was an issue 6 months ago. It's brilliant. Let's talk why 48 hours is good. I hear a lot of different debates from home improvement owners just about like how quickly they want to start rehashing after an appointment and somebody didn't buy. This is the data that we have that shows really most who are actually giving you a reason why they didn't buy. It's going to happen in the first 3 days after the appointment, period. If your goal from people that didn't buy in home the first time, to pull those objections out, get them to the right person, collect that data, get it back in your CRM in the first 3 days. So the data shows that's when people are responding. Go to the next. Yep. I want to give you guys an example. So this is a text message that we use. It gets a really high engagement, especially after 48 hours after the customer's been seen but didn't buy. You can see, hey, Josh, this is Chris from ABC Windows. Great to meet you earlier today. I have any questions. So this is going out guaranteed every time. Now, the customer didn't respond. So the system knew that and followed up on its own and said, hey, just left you a voicemail. Due to recent events, we totally get it. We have a lot of inventory. You can use your own language, but we have a lot of blueprints on how people are using this to drive revenue. We'd like to offer you an additional 15% discount for area. Let me know if that's going to be of interest. The customer finally responded and listened to the objection. We've all heard this before. Yeah, heard that before. The system knows and actually gets John, the sales manager, involved. This is where it's important to be able to handle that objection. So John said, hey, I want anyone that says it's too expensive to come to me. John then jumps in and says, I understand. Listen, recent federal interest rates are cut. We've got 0 down with 0% interest. Your monthly payment would be about $75. Let me know what you think. I was like, give me a call. If you get enough of these at-bats in a rinse and repeatable way inside your business, you will close more deals. So systems, when they work together really, really well, can drive revenue with rehash.
And just think about the fact that the first two engaged really, right? It only got involved with an actual person when they got the objection. So those are things that, you know, from a ROI, so that you're not having to pay anybody to do that work. They can be focused on net new, right? When you've got this type of automation doing the rehash on the back side.
Quick, this is just a screenshot of our platform, and I show it because of the ability for managers and owners to go in and it syncs with i360. So you have a complete business view of what's happening with conversations. And this next slide after this, because of our ability to sync, not only do you know, hey, we rehashed or went after appointments for 7, we know the percentage of those, but we also know the sales that were attributed to those conversations. And that's the key, right? Is measure everything doing's working, and you need that visibility. That's why I love our partnership. It's really cool.
Yeah, me too, because I think that, you know, as you have everything all reporting on the engagement within your world, right? And we've got the awesome, you know, reporting of the engagement within our world. It is a lot of valuable information for an organization, right? You know exactly where you're and where you're not. You know, you're also able, you know, with our system to look down into lead sources and all of those types of things. Systems in place that provide you with this type of detail is essential, right? And you have to be able to create your own business also. Because not all, you know, reporting isn't just reporting unless you can use it. It's just a bunch of information, right? You've got to have, right? And engagement percentages. Same idea on our front, you know, on our back end with the, you know, the reports that we can provide, center type of activity or the calling activity. You know, it's a great thing. The other thing that we've been running these virtual appointments to do more with less. And if you haven't added at least some sort of communication and appointments and things like that into your world, you really, really, really need to think about be in this state for a little while, and the younger generations are going to want it anyway. So really, there's some definite benefits, right? You can do face-to-face without face-to-face. I could turn on my camera right now. I'm not going to. Shower. You can be in front of somebody, right? And do it face-to-face and have that same interaction, looking each other and kind of incorporate touchless estimating. There's a lot of software out there for those types of things. The other is that you can actually this process. So if you do windows and stuff, have as part of the requirements that the customer needs to have a tape measure a window. It's not rocket science, right? You can get at least most of the information that you would be getting if you were inside their actually do more with less resources. The one thing I've also encountered with talking with some of the other customers that I have in regards to virtual appointments is it's actually opening up some channels for them that they when somebody owns a home in another location, sometimes it's really hard to get in front of that homeowner, right? Guess what? Virtual appointments, it's like you're right there with them. So now you have the opportunity where, you know, they got, you know, you don't have to wait till they happen to be at that location in order to meet with them. So that opens up a whole new kind of, you will, you know, for that type of thing. Virtual appointments can be done very simply. My husband even just did FaceTime on an iPhone. That's how his doctor did it if they had iPhones. Like there's that. There's other virtual appointment types of environments that don't really cost a whole lot. I think what is something like that, Chris was using?
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, we have, well, what I like about Whereby, two things. One, it's free. Two is we have a part free, and most folks do, but we also have a product integration with them where you can literally, while you're texting with somebody, press the Whereby button, the little W down there, and it sends people the link, and they can do it on their phone, and they don't have to download another app, you know? And so at least with Whereby, it's done on your browser. So this is how we're seeing folks do it. Yep, exactly. And about executing this, and Caroline hit on it, but this is what we found in the past 3 weeks, talking to some of the really big home improvement companies that are doing this well. Then they're okay because they're getting used to it. But you've got to create that face-to-face. So whereby on mobile, and that's why I like it, is that both parties closing at a very similar clip to as if they were in home, right? But the people that are trying to do it voice like we're doing it, there's not as, I like whereby because it's video, and you can do it on your browser. There's no app download involved.
And it's free.
Oh, and it's free.
Always that, right? Especially at a time like this, those things are important. All right, so here we are. We did a great job at this. So we wanted to make sure that you did, and we're fulfilling our promise, right? Takeaway to organize your leads in your CRM system and establish a process, and establish a very detailed, I guess, free time, if you could call it free time when you're worrying about everything. But we've got is the time that allows you to focus on your business and your business processes. Really look at them. Focus on your recycles and refills if you sell multiple lines of business. They're the easiest ones to go after. You've already established your rapport and everything with them. Communications. 200% return rate is a lot better than nothing, right? I mean, let's just face it, people much more frequently and often. And then offer both in-person and virtual appointments. If you don't want to offer the virtual appointments on a tool in your tool bag when somebody would request that, or you need to do it, then you've got that option, right? And it does take a little bit of practice, get used to the fact that you're not right there in front of someone, but you can still, read all the cues. They're looking around, they're bored, all those types of things. And you can still engage, and your personality can still come out, and you can consultant that they need you to be, right? They're looking to you for answers and help. And that can happen across, visually seeing somebody in a virtual. So.
Hey, and Caroline, before you move on, I want to stick on one thing I think is important, and what I love about our partnership is we work so well together is that we have blueprints for this.
Yep.
What I mean is that if you don't know how to do it, we can come to the table with how many touches, what do you say at which point, how do you hook it up with i360, like all that stuff is very simple. But during a time like this, like, you think about how do you solve those things, and then you can hook up with a company like i360 and Hatch and sort of have to reinvent the wheel. You can just plug and play and get to start driving revenue really tomorrow. So
exactly, that's huge for companies. And I think that as we continue to move forward with our customers, our joint customers, and then our separate customers really should see the value of exactly what we're bringing. Incorporate multiple ways of communication and automation of processes into a business and a business process CRM system. Just like get everything automated. Nobody has to think about anything. They just turn through their day and nothing falls through the cracks this way. You're most lead that you have in your existing database, and anything new also. So we're going to do two things. We're going to do one. We're going to kind of open it up for questions. So on the poll question, Kara, if you can kind of open that up. The poll question is, I want to learn more about Improvement 360. Hatch. Nobody answers neither. That would be a very bad experience for all of us at the end, right? We're going to leave this open. Information in there. And then, we're going to start taking a couple Q&A questions, everything like that. So if they'll leave, Josh, they can put it into the chat, right? Is that how you guys want to do that?
Yep, so you'll see at the bottom left, there's a question mark. So ask your question there. We've got a couple questions that were asked during the webinar that we'll address in a minute. And then
Perfect. And I am not sure if I have visibility to those, Josh. So if you wouldn't mind just kind of process, we can read them
Yeah,
and
you
then
got it.
either Chris or I will answer them.
You got it.
Cool. All right, guys, we're going to give you 5 more seconds and then we'll close down that poll. Kara, whenever you think down, but we really would appreciate everybody's answer on that one. All right, so if anyone would like any more information about Improve It 360 also, you can go to improveit360.com. If anyone wants any information, you can try Hatch for 360. Those are probably the easiest ways to get a hold of any of us. And if anybody has any specific questions, we can, as to additional ways to get a hold of us as necessary. All right, Josh, let's go for the questions.
Yep. He asks, we operate a company that sells to seniors age 65 plus and many 75 plus. How do these strategies for the technology, I guess, impact that market? We are a tub to shower conversion and walk-in tub business.
Question. So back in the day, part of my world, my professional career started out when I was working. Remember the push-to-talk phones back in the day that now is part of Sprint? Well, back then, when texting first started, you actually had to, if you wanted to type the three times and then the 2 and then the T, yeah, it was a pain. I look at technology nowadays, and if you think about these folks are communicating with their kids. She knows how to FaceTime. She knows how to use technology. There's a lot of folks that we underestimate in the, their kids have kind of helped them get to this point, right? If they live away from their grandkids, they want to be able to see them. They're using technology. They're using text messaging and things like that. There really isn't a whole lot of phones that are available out there anymore that aren't smartphones. So most of these folks probably are already engaging with different types of tech.
And I'll add there, we have some data around that because that's a very interesting question. So inside of Hatch's platform, we scrub, we connect every telephone contact number in your database for mobile versus landline. 89 phone numbers scrubbed are mobile. Think about that. That's almost 9 out of 10 people that come into the system give their mobile number when they're signing up for an appointment. So that just tells you where people, a lot of home improvement companies, I know we both do, i360 and Hatch, that deal in that space. I think our average, our customers' age is that. So although people are older, they're still submitting their cell phones, which tells you that's them raising their hand saying, hey, like I have one, you know, go ahead and text me. So just remember like those numbers. And so when you're thinking about your strategy, still will really change. Feature, voicemail works really well with some of the older folks just because they may not answer that initial call, but they'll listen to it. So
that is
that
true.
could be another strategy. Yep. Good.
Great. Next question is, does Hatch? Yeah, that is. Next question, I think this will be for Chris. Does Hatch have a mobile app? Is all communication done through the desktop interface? And that comes from Jay.
Thanks, Jay. We have both. But right now, we really support what we call a responsive, and it works directly on your browser on your phone. So the way the communications work is we actually have the cadences get a customer to respond. You can click on a link and then answer your customers directly on your phone. We also have the ability for you to, there's really 2 options for you.
Awesome. Next question is, if my sales reps aren't in charge of rehash, who should be? A manager, owner, and that comes from.
Ooh, that's great. why aren't they, I guess, is one of the questions. I think that rehash, the communication is going to be different, right? So you have to understand the they didn't buy and have those very canned kind of responses. And I think that is something you could put together and that any handle. But I would definitely say, you know, on the rehashes, I would put it to a senior sales rep, or just because, you know, it's a little bit different conversations, and you know, kind of the responses are. What do you think, Chris?
Well, I think you nailed it. I mean, we see home improvement companies handle it in 4 lanes. One center is in charge of air traffic controlling it. 2 is their sales manager is in charge of air traffic controlling it. 3 is they have a front office person, and 4 is their reps. But even all of the sales manager gets visit conversations, because you just nailed it. Frankly, not every rep's created equal, and so people that struggle with price objection, people that struggle actually selling value, they're obviously going to get more price objections. Do you want them also handling that objection on the back end? Maybe not. Maybe yet, right? Control where that conversation goes, if you really want to increase that close rate. And so the answer is, you got to pick a lane and then figure out how you want to answer objections, and then get them to the right person. And like you said, maybe it's a senior, maybe it's another sales manager, maybe it's the owner.
Right.
Handle it. Yep.
Too, because different people may have a much better, a way to communicate against objections too.
I mean, I-360 in Texas, that with Hatch, and the way they have it is a call center. They're a pretty large organization. I think they do like 20 million or so in revenue. And what they have is their call center answers the initial responses. And if, hey, I could do the deal, but I need it to be like a monthly payment, it's the only way I'll be able to afford it. That's pretty simple. Like, they can handle that in the call center. If somebody comes back and says, hey, listen, you quoted me 30 grand and I could do 22.5, that's something that is a no profit margin. So like, yep. So it's exactly what you said.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody. And thank you all the attendees for joining today. I hope this was valuable for you. And the presentation, as well as some messaging playbooks. So make sure you check your email, check your spam folders for that. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Caroline. This was really insightful.
Well, thank you, everybody. Stay safe, stay healthy, all together. Thanks, Chris.
Cool. Thanks, Caroline. This was fun. See you guys.
See ya.